This is macOS Ken.
Bullish notes on iPhone, stories from the software side, and a week's worth of Apple TV Plus news. It's Friday, the 18th of December, 2020. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Headspace. Meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by MacPaw, makers of Clean My Mac X. Your Mac as good as new. Clean My Mac X is all-in-one cleaning and optimizing software for your Mac. It declutters your Mac and runs maintenance scripts to keep your Mac's performance at its peak. One of its smartest features is Smart Scan. Smart Scan examines your Mac for system log files and user cache that really has no use. I have freed up gigabytes and gigabytes from my Mac with Clean My Mac X. I wonder how much you'll free up. VentureBeat, iMore, iDownload blog. Clean My Mac X is well reviewed by all of them. Cult of Mac says maintaining a healthy Mac doesn't have to be hard. Clean My Mac X offers all the tools you need to ensure your machine is always speedy and safe. Learn more about Clean My Mac X and download it for free at macpaw.app/macOSKen. That's MACPAW, macpaw.app/macOSKen. That's macpaw.app/macOSKen for Clean My Mac X. And a big thanks to MacPaw for sponsoring today's show. More positive words on iPhone sales. Philip Elmer DeWitt's Apple 3.0 had a couple of notes of note. The first one, from Morgan Stanley analyst Katie Huberty, has her seeing surprising demand for iPhone in China. With stable builds, positive supply chain data, and extended iPhone 12 lead times, Huberty says her firm is increasingly bullish. She and hers are hearing the same stuff that we've been hearing from other analysts all week. While smartphone sales in the Middle Kingdom have mostly sucked wind this quarter, Huberty says iPhone units were up double digits for October and November versus those 2 months a year ago. That's driving a period of smartphone installed base share gains not seen in China since mid-2019, in Huberty's estimation. Morgan Stanley has an overweight rating on Apple shares. Huberty's price target on the shares is $144. If it sounds like a super cycle, you know Wedbush analyst Daniel Ives will have a comment. Apple 3.0 has part of that note saying, while the street is forecasting roughly 215 million iPhone units for fiscal year 2021, we believe, based on the current trajectory and in a bull case, Cupertino has potential to sell north of 240 million units. 250 million could be in the cards, a jaw-dropping figure, which would easily eclipse the previous Apple record of 231 million units sold in fiscal year 2015. Importantly, he continues, with our estimation that 350 million of 950 million iPhones worldwide are currently in the window of an upgrade opportunity, we believe this will translate into an unprecedented upgrade cycle for Apple, with a major Santa Claus boom already underway for Cooke and Company. I saw Elmer DeWitt give the world grief once for treating Ives' bull cases like stated targets. It's kind of hard to blame him, though, when he writes as if his bull case is his expected scenario. Anyway, Ives has an outperform rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $160. Another party heard from around last week's riots at a Wistron plant in India. You probably remember the steps so far. Workers at a Wistron-owned iPhone factory in India rioted over disparities between monies promised and wages actually paid out. Apple suspended operations at the plant and sent in a team to investigate. Wistron downplayed the amount of damage caused in the riots, saying it was around $7 million US, not the $50 million plus that had initially been reported. And finally, a group of manufacturers in India sided with Wistron basically apologizing to the guest company for the behavior of Indian workers. Well, not everybody in India is on Wistron's side. The piece from iMore says an Indian trade union has said the state government turned a blind eye to labor violations and that workers had not been paid properly for 4 months. That piece cites a report from Thomson Reuters that had the trade union slamming the local government for failing to take stern action against iPhone assembler Wistron and accusing authorities of targeting the company's contract workers after the riot. The National Secretary for the All India Central Council of Trade Unions says the state government is going extremely soft on the company and turning a blind eye to all the violations at the facility. Meanwhile, no word on what, if anything, Apple's investigation has turned up. iOS 14 is a runaway hit compared to iOS 13. That seems to be the tail in the numbers anyway. Apple Must had Apple posting adoption rates for its mobile operating systems earlier this week. According to those, iOS 14 is running on 81% of iPhones introduced in the last 4 years and on 72% of all active iPhones. That crushes iOS 13 adoption in a similar time frame. Just over a year ago, iOS 13 was installed on 55% of iPhones that were 4 years old or less, and on only half of all active iPhones out there. Work on the next round of OS updates seems to be moving at a breakneck speed. The week started with updates for nearly everything Apple makes. Midweek, the company seeded a round of developer betas for future updates. Now the week ends with the hoi polloi getting in on the act. Mac Rumors ran a couple of pieces Thursday, one announcing the first public beta of macOS 11.2, and the other heralding the first public betas of iOS and iPadOS 14.4. So far, there is nothing new known about the macOS update, though there is an interesting feature in the iOS beta. According to the piece, 14.4 will access the U1 chip in HomePod Mini to make handoff more simple. The way Mac Rumors describes it, when an iPhone is near the HomePod Mini, it begins a soft, haptic touch rhythm that gets faster and faster as the iPhone gets closer until the interface to transfer a song between the HomePod Mini and the iPhone opens. This functionality will make handoff quicker and more reliable on a HomePod Mini and an iPhone 11 or iPhone 12, the piece continues, all of which are equipped with U1 chips to let the devices better understand where they are in relation to one another. Apple has stopped providing standalone updaters in macOS Big Sur. That's the word from Apple Insider. If I understand it, and there is no guarantee that I do, sounds like it could be kind of a pain. For decades, the piece says, Apple has offered users the ability to download standalone smaller update files without needing to download a full OS install image. With Big Sur, it sounds like wanting to update one small thing will mean having to update everything, if I understand it. And there's no guarantee that I do. Apple Maps has added a few more cities to its Look Around feature, sort of Apple's answer to Google Street View. iDownload blog says if you live in a city that has street imagery available, invoking Look Around will let you pan high-resolution street photos 360 degrees and move through the streets with smooth transitions. As of this week, if you live in Denver, Detroit, Fort Lauderdale, or Miami, you live in a city that has street imagery available. The 4 new cities brings the total number of look-around locations to just over 20, including several in the U.S., 1 in Ireland, 1 in Scotland, 1 in England, and 3 in Japan. An odd turn in the epic fight against Apple. I told you yesterday that the Fortnite publisher had requested that Apple's Senior VP of Software Engineering, Craig Federighi, and Senior VP Internet Software and Services, Eddie "The Stuff" Q, be deposed in the case between the two companies. Well, they can't have Q, but they can have Cooke. Mac Rumors says the judge hearing the request has ruled that Apple CEO Tim Cooke and software engineering chief Craig Federighi will be summoned to testify in the ongoing Apple versus Epic legal battle. Hey, here's a total shocker. Facebook has weighed in on the Epic-Apple battle, and you'll never guess, of course you will, it's Epic. According to a piece from Cult of Mac, Facebook is supporting Fortnite maker Epic Games in its lawsuit against Apple. According to Steve Satterfield, a director of privacy and public policy at Facebook, the social network company thinks that it is really important that the court understand far-reaching impact of Apple's unfair policies. Crazy, right? Facebook has a director of privacy. More news in a moment, but first a word from Headspace. Meditation made simple. Life can be stressful even under normal circumstances, and 2020 has been, well, abnormal, let's say. Plus, now we got the holidays, too. You need stress relief that goes beyond quick fixes. That's Headspace. Headspace is your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an easy-to-use app. From morning meditations to wind-down sessions to help you sleep, to 3-minute SOS sessions to deal with particularly troubling moments. Headspace is backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, 600,000 5-star reviews, and over 60 million downloads. Past meditation apps have made me feel silly. Headspace has made me feel better. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/macOSken. That's headspace.com/macOSken for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/macOSken today. And thanks to Headspace for sponsoring today's show. There has been a lot of Apple TV Plus news this week, all of it pushed ahead for other newsier news. Here now is that lot. 2 things you never want to see made are laws and sausages, goes the quote. However, in hashtag these uncertain times, we may want to add favorite TV shows to that list. I love the Apple TV Plus series Mythic Quest, Raven's Banquet, and I am heartbroken by the news coming from the production. A long piece from Variety has staff on the show pushing back against producers after 2 separate outbreaks of COVID-19 on the set. After the second outbreak a couple of weeks ago, show creator and star Rob McElhenney sent a message to staff saying, "For as alarming as this sounds, we have been expecting this for weeks. The numbers in the county are spiking, and consequently, our numbers are doing the same. But to date, there remains 0 evidence of any transmission at work. Our set continues to be one of the safest places you can be outside of your homes." An anonymous member of the crew responded, "That's horse, expletive deleted, utter horse, expletive deleted." Quoting Variety, the crew member said he was in close contact with other workers who also tested positive at the same time. The production was shooting at the CBS Radford lot in Studio City, which has become a COVID hotbed, with 3 other outbreaks reported in the last month. The company hired to oversee COVID protocols on the production says the show operated in full compliance with extensive health and safety protocols in place. Lionsgate, the show's producer, also backed the show. Still, at least a couple of crew members say it wasn't squeaky clean, with one saying they started in full compliance, but eventually slipped into their old way of doing things. Production stopped on Season 2 on the 4th of December. After 11 days away, production resumed Wednesday, just day before yesterday. The show was in the last week of production when work stopped. Hard to know whether they'll be able to finish anytime soon, though. Southern California has 0 ICU beds available. News of 2 new stars for the Apple TV Plus series Slow Horses, and of a hefty production schedule as well. Deadline says the Gary Oldman-led spy drama has added Ready Player One's Olivia Cooke to the mix, along with Game of Thrones regular and Brazil lead Johnathan Pryce. As for the hefty production schedule, the piece says production is underway after the COVID-related stoppage that stopped pretty much all production worldwide. Sources tell Deadline that 12 episodes are being filmed, which will likely constitute 2 seasons of the drama. 12 episodes is 2 seasons? Not to be so American, but 12 episodes is not 2 seasons. Used to be half of 1 season. Just saying. Samuel L. Jackson is set to star in an Apple TV Plus limited series. iDownload blog says Jackson will star in an adaptation of the novel The Last Days of Ptolemy Gray. According to the report, the limited series will be only 6 episodes. According to the report, the limited series will be only 6 episodes. Jackson will be taking the leading role as Ptolemy Gray, a 91-year-old man forgotten by his family, by his friends, by even himself. A description in Variety says on the brink of sinking even deeper into a lonely dementia, Ptolemy experiences a seismic shift when he's given the tremendous opportunity to briefly regain his memories and uses this precious and fleeting lucidity to solve his nephew's death and come to terms with his past. No timeline given for that series. Season 2 of Servant hasn't even started airing yet we know there'll be a Season 3. Apple issued a press release earlier this week saying that the spooky M. Night Shyamalan series has been renewed for a 3rd season ahead of its 2nd season global premiere on the 15th of January, 2021. For something a bit more chill, news of another kids series premiere. Mac Daily News says The Snoopy Show is set to start in about a month and a half. Apple doesn't seem to have offered much in the way of description for the show. The description for the trailer says, the world's most extraordinary beagle is back, celebrating 70 years of Peanuts. The Snoopy Show is coming to Apple TV Plus this February. Mac Daily News indicates that the show will center on Snoopy and Woodstock. It'll land in Apple Stream on Friday, the 5th of February next year. News of a couple of features from Apple, one a documentary, the other a drama. First, Mac Rumors says the Cupertino streamer has released a trailer for the Billie Eilish documentary, The World's a Little Blurry, telling the true coming-of-age story of the singer-songwriter and her rise to global superstardom. Apple says the documentary offers a deeply intimate look at this extraordinary teenager's journey at just 17 years old, navigating life on the road, on stage, and at home with her family. The film is set to premiere on the 26th of February. Between now and then, you can catch the trailer on YouTube. And finally today, the Justin Timberlake drama Palmer is coming soon to a TV near you. Apple's description of the film says after 12 years in prison, former high school football star Eddie Palmer returns home to put his life back together and forms an unlikely bond with Sam, an outcast boy from a troubled home. But Eddie's past threatens to ruin his new life and family. JT plays Palmer, no surprise there. Cult of Mac says the film will hit Apple TV Plus on the 29th of January. You can, of course, catch the trailer now on YouTube. Coming up in a few minutes, Today in iOS host Rob Walsh is back to spin the wheel of stuff. Look for that show and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. No live show today, but do you want to hear me go nuts on Facebook's ad attacks? Watch a replay of yesterday's macOS Ken Live at youtube.com/KenRay or subscribe to the audio show macOS Ken Live wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me, and sponsored by MacPaw, makers of Clean My Mac X. Learn more about Clean My Mac X and download it for free at macpaw.app/macOSken. This show is also sponsored by Headspace, meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.